dimples I'd like to kiss. She squints her almond eyes until they are slivers. Delectable to be poppy dressed, tossed in salads with golden raisins, pickled beets, good, my appetite. Shakshuka, poached eggs, farm-grown tomatoes, yellow, pink, their seeds I suck in and out of my teeth. I hope to grow gardens in my tummy. Vines climb, claw my neck, she will crawl up me, shouting, it's time for harvest, beep, beep. Beep, beep goes the coffee maker. 4 cups ready and tons of quirky mugs about lovers and bugs, but we always share one anyway. Anyway, I'll take my coffee anyway she serves. Agave, honey, sugar on the raw, lick, late nights I trickle into the kitchen in my negligee, she on dishes. Me, spread open on her butt cheeks, humping, begging, can we at least fuck? Gulp, gulp. Gulp, gulp goes my belly, nope, nope, never full. Always longy, lusty for a little treat, a little ice cream cake that turns my pucker-ups blue eyes. Blue icing, bluebird perched wants forever too, blue. The lake are reflections to women in search of a word, this pet blue. My heart blue, should her cheeks ever sit still, she's cheating for me, checking for me as I write this poem. As I ask, what's for dinner, and what do you think of the name Dora? She thinks it's nice. Unique, up go my spirits. Up. And the next poem is called, the next poem is a ghazal. It's called Girls with Choices. I keep mace in my fanny, taser in my backpack, smarts on street, wit on tongue. I'm a real girl on the run. I am a girl's girl, but no, I've never been backstabbed. Just raped. And to my surprise, I was unable to run. As a kid, my hair was clementine, my cheeks speckled by the bazillions, and I snuggled mealworms. I hate to tell her. Kid me, how I rhymed, how demons are faster than my earth body. I jog and they run. Alarm. 5:45 a.m. I sun my adult acne. Smell my mold armpit, fuck and perfume it, recite serenity prayer. Goddess, grant me a sedative script. For I keep having nightmares in which I can but choose not to run. The only thing I have to do is die. Tell me then why a masochist, work out, date men, write poems, exercise curbs depression. I wonder if Kate Spade, classy lady, went to yoga. Spin classer, like to run, routines make sense. My organized mess, work, home, eat, jog, put my tits in the nightstand, stretch. No, not training for a 5K, just for the day I fall in love and my gut pulls me aside, whispers, bitch, run.
That was great. That was awesome. Thank you for just confidently charging and taking that. One thing I didn't think about, if you want to, when you come up here, maybe if you want to, you can say a little bit about yourself, what your interests are, and even just when I was putting this together, a couple of you guys, I saw we were like adding each other on Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that, so community is super cool. If that's something you want to mention, definitely feel free to plug that. We can all connect that way as well too. Just a suggestion. All right, let's get a drum roll going. Let's get this next guy out. Or down, or whoever. Justin, no last name, just Justin. Right.
I figured I was the only Justin here. That's how it usually works. I don't know what to say. My life's somewhat boring. So, this is just from a collection of sonnets I have. Let me turn now from my Smallville fan fiction and praise you who are killing it with thrift store finds, killing it with paper boats in the gutter. You who once pushed your sleeping bag close to mine, whispered we should drive and drive, chasing silhouettes like the quivering tail of an adventure, and wrung out 2 tears, who later lifted a beer to the suffragettes and the union men, though your own heart kept breaking. And may I say, your hometown is just a dead zone of concrete and traffic without you in it. You who raise the middle finger with grace and power, like every punk song that should rightly bear your name. I'm sorry if this is stuff you already know. This is called Palookaville. Over the interstate by the water tank, there's a billboard of a personal injury attorney and his dog. The dog is wearing a shirt and tie, like it's a lawyer too. Okay. I just wanted to let you know this is a thing, though not a thing we do, which I guess is the point. I want us to have a code, like daffodils have a code, like silk moths have a code. Here comes the night, nervous as my fingers on your waist. Porch lights flicker and music trembles in from the alley. Sometimes a slow song comes on, and I think, fucking A, as if you were here. And I'll read one more of these. This is one last sonnet. Kenny's not wearing a shirt. Third day in a row. For our latest bon mot, we could call him Neighbor Without Shirt. Or better yet, Voisin sans chemise. But no word from you again today. I don't know what's changed. I dream of you in black and white instead of color now. I can't remember the times we made love without guilt. So I dream of your face in that room, dust drifting in sunlight, the way our skin stuck together in summer. This morning, the color of a stone, I walked through the dark wood alone, dragging my black bag of manuscripts, saying, I'm determined not to feel old, and I feel old. Thanks.
Thank you, Justin. You had me at Smallville. All right, let's get another drum roll going. And we've got some new people coming in. If you guys want to read, feel free. Did you want to read? No? Okay. But there's a little sign-up sheet. It's a ripped up piece of paper over there, so if you change your mind, just let me know. All right, sorry, drum roll. Let's get it going. Ray Russell.
Terrifying getting up in front of a group like this. Man, you're a good poet, man. I'm happy for you. Ingrid and I represent, we're part of an Algiers poetry group. So if anybody is interested in joining up, we're going to be having groups at the library and here. So anyway, that's just to pass it on. So, pardon? Oh, I grew up in New Orleans. And I spent a good bit of time in North Carolina. Well, at one point there, I passed almost daily, I passed this little processing plant where they were taking pig manure and making fertilizer out of it. We could smell it for a long way down the road. And this is one of the things that I've been blessed with about 5 miles from my house. If the wind was just right, I could smell it from the house. But this first poem is in honor of that. And I call it fertilizer. I spread the fertilizer around and doctor up the barren ground. And when my seedlings germinate, my friends and neighbors think I'm great. Growing things where there weren't none is something that ain't easy done. But people says I got the knack to set a garden right on track. Don't have no books or fancy stuff. I sort of do it off the cuff. Because my old thumb is just as green as any thumb I ever seen. And when folks ask me how it's done, you know that I won't be the one to disappoint and let them down. I spreads that fertilizer around. right in line with that, I got one called My Somewhat Uncouth Friend. Goes like this. I don't poop in my front yard, or even in the back, but I grab a scoop and clean the poop and put it in a sack. I don't jump up and rub my crotch on people who pass my way, or bless the flowers with yellow showers, or give their trees a spray. I won't lick sweaty faces and run the block all nude, or fart in confined places. Such practices are rude. I never chew a good friend's shoe or sneak to eat his meat. I eschew such acts taboo. They're worse than indiscreet. Some breach the daily manners of prudent social planners. As for me, I won't go out to pee or fart or poo, but oh, my doggy do. I've got one more on a little more serious vein. I call it the river beneath us. There's an underlying current in which some souls abide that speaks in all the voices of the wind and rain and tide. It washes up into the core of creatures great and small and spills its understanding in the hearts of one and all. It knows no bounds of race or creed, of color, sex, or kin, but flows through those who seek its power, whose spirits let it in. It binds each to the other beneath this troubled sod and makes all folks our brothers who have their roots in God.
Thank you, Ray. Let it be known that rhyme and meter are not dead and have a lot of power. That was awesome. Let's get another drum roll going. We're reaching in the hat now. Henry, where you at? All right. You dressed up for the event, so.
Thanks very
And
much.
came prepared.
Thank you.
Dress to impress.
If you just pass these out and you just pick one, call us. There's only 10. I got 10 minutes and I'll be out of here. You just put it on, and if you want, it's not super engaging. You don't have to do much. Just state your name. And Cameron's going to hand out something for everybody. I'll tell you about that later. You don't have to open it now. Maybe don't open it now. Okay. Thanks. The Great Debate. The page is a word magnet. No, the air is a word magnet. No, the page is a word magnet. No, the air is a word magnet. No, the page is a word magnet. No, the air is a word magnet. No, the page is a word magnet. No, the air. Guys, whoa! Cut it out. That's enough. You're both right. I'll show you. I'd forgotten gravity is a poetry magnet. I forgot the earth is a poetry magnet. Yeah, I forgot. This next poem is called Poem Going for No Meaning. Oh, excuse me though. I should introduce myself. Hi. Oh, wait a minute. Hi, I'm Henry. Hi. Your risk in poetry. You know, you can put your cigarette out in a cup of gasoline. Did you know that? Yeah. The ignition point of gasoline is much higher than the cherry on your. So you put it in there, and nothing happens. Hi, Henry.
I'm the salty mathematician.
The salty mathematician. All numbers are adjectives. 1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4. Lucky for us, all adjectives are imaginary. Ain't that bananas? Hi, I'm Henry.
I'm a sonnet in the year of our Lord 2026.
Ah, okay. Dead horse, 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 dead horsey, float out! Dead horse.
Yeah.
This next poem is called Going for No Meaning. A cartoon cigar, smoking a cartoon cigarette with a look of rancid terror on its filter face. An antelope asleep in a race car bed, a new birthday present for the big boy. Nails bitten down, low as they'll go. Just out of habit, though. Crows with butcher knives as wings clanging down the street, unable to catch flight off the whetstone of the city. What if the world was turned up, actually, and we as humans see way more pink in the world than is natural? A house suddenly raises 5 degrees on its east side, so you dig in with your walk. How might you turn your dial if you had control of your ocular intake of tanks? Say the volume goes up to 100 and you're on a 20 right now. They call that style shotgun style. It's residents, dormant shooters. I'm willing to bet the amount of people in hell is actually quite small, and that many of the usual suspects aren't even there. Angels are lousy at taking attendance. They just lob visions at the masses instead of what they're supposed to be doing, tearing our tickets in the wings. A bottle of Percocet prescribed to a person in a great deal of pain. If you're thirsty, you should drink something. I once threw a man from a moving sedan. Technically, this used to be the definition of self-care. I got 10 on 2. 10 on 2. I'm good for it. What do you do for a living? I work at the door. I swear on my mother. If I put a gun to your head and told you to name every color in a basic rainbow, could you do it? Please. This thing's loaded. Thank you. Hi, I'm Henry.
I am burned out in middle class workforce.
Was that your car I saw in the parking lot, the SUV with the 26.2 bumper sticker? Yeah?
Maybe.
It was. It was your car. And so you drove here. You drove here. The 26.2 bumper sticker. You drove here? You drove. Hi, I'm Henry.
I'm Grecian Petri.
Science, etymologically, is knowledge. Knowledge, etymologically, is knowledge. Nothing more. Hi, I'm Henry. Where did somebody, I got 10 total. Oh, hi, I'm Henry. Nice to meet you. The gates of heaven? Well, what about all those times I let people in front of me at the Taco Bell drive-thru? That's all for nothing? That's for nothing. Hi, I'm Henry. Government fucking mental accounting. Public servant. Sounds kinky as shit. All right, this next poem, I need a volunteer. It's not a big thing. Do we have any dentists? Dental hygienists? Nurse practitioners in the audience? All right, do we have anybody that's right-handed in the audience that would like to help me? Do we have any right-handed people here? Great, would you mind? Come on. Thank you.
Yeah.
Give a round of applause. All right, so thank you so much. Perfect. You're perfect where you're at. Take these, please. Thanks. And everybody can open your envelopes. This is a little tricky to understand because of the nature of the poem. This is called Ode to Instrument. If you could just clamp my tongue and pull it out, please.
I present to you the poet's thing, the double down on one. Let us talk about tongue, using the tongue to develop it. At least there's the self-sustaining on my paints and busts or a camera and its battery. They do this better, being born with it. It's wet attendance, the better for it. Paints never touch mother's milk. Tickles never swab a bulldog and live to tell the tale. They not just feet maybe, but those are all the way down there. I like my fat tapping tongue where that, right in the middle of my head. I'd sing a lullaby if I could, but it always does all the work. The tongue is totally a mother, but letting me win against the daughters. Oh, lady work for? Oh, zippy hose? A violin can't tear Terry Sampson in a knot, and we definitely don't go piano without our noses. Just think, after so, I get to take this poetry proper and rub it all over a hunk of sourdough down with butter and salt right after I say butter and salt. How many Kwon dogs did Judge Haysfield eat? How many mustards you're intended inside? Sometimes I find more than one. 2 tongues to talk with, one for each side of my mouth. And to think these father guys do other stuff besides. Naughty stuff. Hasty stuff. Silly stuff. Okay, that's enough.
Joy buzzers left out. That's what I call my small things. Did anybody not get introduced? I'm Henry. Oh, hi. I'm Henry. A proud member of the NRA. All right. All right. Well, the hollow point embedded in the heart of all metaphor. Conceal and carry. All right. All right. Hi, I'm Henry. Just a couple more, I think. Anybody in the back? Anybody? Okay, we'll just move on. I think this is the last one. And thank you so much for your time. This is, let's see, where should I set up here? Probably. Rude. I kind of need to pick my legs up. All right, last poem. It's a shorty, sort of. This poem. Upon opening poetry and becoming my father with his nose in a trade magazine, he has no business. How many times are you gonna say it? Oh my God, this guy. Comma slice, hello! Just one of those faces. Base is juiced, and you blew it! That's disgusting. That's not a poem, that's a driver's license. Ah, well, excuse me, kilometer. Me. Took 10 lines just to clear the throat. That is not true. I can smell that couplet coming an inch away. Oh, purple, 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 purple. She's dreaming. And what does that have to do with anything at all? Thank you.
Wow, that was incredible. I just wasn't expecting it coming, but that was really, I don't know how you all experienced that. I think that we experienced it individually, but as it went on, I was like, this is fucking cool. You know, so that was really, really great. Thank you so much, Henry. I really appreciate the commitment. That was wonderful. All right, we got more people in the room now, so this drum roll should be loud as shit. So let's start really rattling it up. Find a table near you. Let's go. Next name coming out. Oh, I think it's appropriate. Cameron, we got you next. You better-
It's free to sit, a reef in thought, fluidic on the floor, Latif on sax, you changed on the air. On bike, pedaling slower than usual, pleading nothing, lulled at dusk, below kudzu, just thinking this is who I am now. Then, on a whim, someone else. Hi. Clowns don't carry ID. In the briar patch, the patriarch, a little hatchling, making it harder to rest, to sit on the surfboard, wobble with the tide. I suck. Solemn lemons when life gives them. Cruel ulcer in the cheek, bell curve of the tongue. Didn't always nobody talk existence, a singed design on the ass? The war is so raw in the news today. Sewn my eyes shut. Fart a raft, cast away to edit tides. Then one virus interfuses with another. Crisis after Christmas, of course IPAs are racist. Look at gasoline. Then someone introduces some reductions. A cup, sugar, cayenne, an Arctic cube. I am a cub, puckering in his high chair. Back then, when the deltas lasted. Helium balloons collapse down here. And how about them clowns? You're the problem. You're the problem. You're the problem. Here, let me lend you a hand. But I can't reach for it for some reason. The pressure too much for perusers of the ocean. I am one. And eons away it feels from feeling good about breathing in a little water, a little spritz from the clavicle flower. Nightcaps tried patching. Take a penny, leave a penny. Billfold, shriveled mercy kill. Hide the raucous tide, dry lipped, train Orion smile. All the raccoons went out to lunch, out one for trash. To put aside aids all the good ideas, intent on dings, interior design. You don't have to clap at me. Accidental, an ox with a dental plan. Fired now, out of luck. Look out for the plow now, lying in the sun, rusting in the puff of frequent thought. tilled row, carved root, the scar, a pathway in the field. Who will do the tilling now? Forever this land so fallow, decades old as one old road depletes, resplendent blight. So easy to walk down, so easy to skip and run and slip asunder, a water slide of unceasing ease. The ox's teeth now rotting in its head. A nameless salesman demos all my moods on doom mode. Sets up an arsenal, sells guns snug in the gut, keeps the rake and scrapes it when I act up. Good days and dodgy ones. Someone outside of me tallies reasons to be tardy next time. Time has no intermissions, except for the innermosts, most times. Other salesmen, nameless, push the gunship on me too, cranking ears of rage. But I can handle it. Scribble with marker remarks on a napkin. Maybe his name is Remy, or Mark, or fear of losing. Either way, feels better knowing. Accept it. Accept this. Why, contusions now. Not especially pretty except the face this. Here, here. The circumference of newness. What is new is confused. Firstly, sickly amidst concrete, stuck, a tulip, in another goddamn poem about sidewalks. The substrate, ownership, dependence, abandonment, code for pendant, seared into the deep end, down to the roots. Secondly, is there a recompense for eradication? You could say this, though this is not a good hand, not a new car. My dear, my darling is a leader, not a dealer. If at the onset I move a few stones, get out of the way. Thirdly, counting petals, what once cost us countless hours now is nothing algebraic but the glacier. I wean anew, deadhead bedfuls of flowers. Find me on my knees there, culling lastly the habit dance of loss, loosening the whirling slug of fear. A fiction within, demanded, maddened, the amendment named. It's free to sit, a reef in being, the breath as stream, a trellis being stiller by the second. In there, the bather moves about pollutants, scrubbing with pumice the times it happened. But did it really happen the way it happens in here? The tillers beside the trellis take a break beneath the teak, cross-legged, the rillets rushing silent by the knees. Meditation as diatomite, a filter for these things. Thank you all.
Thank you, Cameron. I love all the questions that your work raises. Really great stuff. Okay, let's do another drum roll. Let's get it going. All right, we've got Jason. Great. Better welcome Jason Christian. Thank you.
Hi guys. So, I'm not a poet. This is don't have a lot of short, this is an excerpt from a memoir I'm working on, so I don't have a lot of short things. I hope it makes sense. Basically, it's about this few years I lived in Barcelona, living in anarchist squats and collectives and things like that. I'm calling this little section 2 Cups. I still have a grainy photo of one of our countless communal meals. 11 people around a makeshift table, waiting their turn to load a plate with what I call vegan mush, lentils most likely, and whatever veg we found in supermarket bins that week, cooked in large pots and served with stale baguettes, wilting salad, and a healthy glob of rice. It was the sort of food doled out by Food Not Bombs or sold cheap at a squat for some anarchist prisoner's lawyer fees. This was the year after Bush's war began, 2004, when I finally escaped the humdrum of my country and landed in a counterculture wonderland. That night in Barcelona, we killed ours on the red tile terrace beneath an old fig tree. In the photo, the tree is little more than a grayish tangle, just a smudge of a trunk, the only light from the flash of the point-and-shoot camera, which I am holding, and from 3 lit candles stuffed into spent Gibecca bottles, dead soldiers in an endless battlefield of daily drinking. The presence of candles signals this was a special night. Then again, most nights were special. We were always finding reasons to get together and feast. Decadent poverty was a term thrown around, at least by those of us from North America, those who rejected middle-class norms but retained a middle-class entitlement to fancy things. It was my sincerest belief that we were living the dream. What did we talk about on this particular evening? I can't remember much, but I would guess we swapped travel stories. I remember a guy from San Francisco said he was friends with the band The Scissor Sisters, a band I didn't know, but learned was currently blowing up. I remember an Australian crust punk ranked the scenes in Melbourne and Sydney and Adelaide. He showed up with a group of Aussies who somehow knew the Americans who had squatted the place a couple of months earlier with a crew of Argentinians and a Venezuelan not long before I arrived. Those Americans were in their 30s, a decade older than me. They were off traveling up north, avoiding the heat, long accustomed to the vagabond life. I remember one of them had bird skulls tattooed in grayscale up and down his veiny arms. This is how Barcelona is for me now. Images and moments, faces but few names. We dubbed the squat Horta after the neighborhood where it stood. It was really 3 houses, separated by fences that we keenly knocked down. It was in that compound that I learned I could survive. I learned I could go weeks without a shower. I learned functional Spanish after lazy school attempts. I learned to love comics. The public library had hundreds of them. I learned a bit about gardening because of course we kept a garden because Horta means garden in Catalan. I learned to put lines across my 7s, a small effort to blend in. More than learning, I was becoming by consuming new experiences like illicit drugs. Among the hundreds of ocupas in Barcelona, there were dozens of free workshops offered to the public. And by public, I mean other squatters. On any given day, one could practice any useful skill imaginable, from kickboxing to welding to bicycle mechanics. The network was akin to a decentralized trade school, and for a time, I became an eager student. I got to know a Chilean called Ernesto, who invited people over to his squat to make ceramics. Once a week, I rode my bike across the city to a 10-story block on Carrer de Sardenya, where Ernesto resided with a gaggle of folks, mostly Catalans, a block from Ciutadella Park. The squat was called Miles de Vivienda, which meant thousands of households, a nod to public housing, or lack thereof. It was a serious house full of dedicated activists, whereas ours was a punky hovel, more insular, less put together, the kind of place the neighbors wished gone. I liked Ernesto immensely. I liked that when I shouted at his window, he lowered down a basket with a key in it. I liked that he would say, "¿Qué tal?" and kiss me on the cheeks, and that he smoked a cone-shaped spliff, heavy on hash, and drank bodega wine from ceramic cups. He'd pour me a cup, pass the spliff, and get me started on the clay in one easy motion. He was patient with my Spanish, clearly wanting to be my friend. Perhaps an inoffensive United States citizen was an exotic specimen worth knowing after all. There was no sizing one another up, no competition. He didn't look all that punk either. He stood at about 5'1" and had a hunched back, which he covered with bright patterned shirts, the top 2 buttons undone. When he leaned forward to show me how to pinch a pot, I could see a wide scar across his chest. One day Ernesto invited me to fire my pieces at Con Mas Deu, an old leprosarium turned squat in the outskirts of the city. "You'll like this place," he said. "It's like an old castle." Con Mas Deu was squatted in 2001 and is occupied to this day. Built in the 17th century as a nunnery and later converted to a home for people with leprosy or Hansen's disease. The building was abandoned and stayed that way for half a century until a collective of idealists breathed life back into it. The split-level structure sits high on the mountain and enjoys a priceless view of the city below. The main structure is 4 stories tall, flush with rows of arched windows and topped with a terracotta roof. There are gardens and outbuildings and winding paths. You could play football on the terrace. It is a commune in the best sense of the word. The collective writes on their website, quote, "The Valley of Con Mas Deu is a network of projects that resists at the rhythm of the seasons, the veracity of the city without limits. It is a creative act of disobedience to the world of money, smoke, noise, and speed." It's true we moved slowly on the terrace that day. We sat on rickety chairs and fed shards of pine into a homemade kiln, and when we ran out of kindling, we made more from stolen pallets with a crowbar and hatchet. Below the terrace in the garden, bamboo trellises sprung from the earth, covered in vines. A few residents or volunteers worked the crops. Parts of these beds comprised a community garden tended by the neighbors, many of them elderly, who lived nearby and vowed to back the squatters if the city tried to shut them down. I didn't meet any of the neighbors that day, but I would later witness the fluidity between the homeowners and squatters and feel that a form of utopianism was indeed possible, if only in fleeting moments and on a small scale. At Con Mas Deu, I found a glimpse of it, one of many I've encountered over the years. A friend of Ernesto's named Sebastian was in town from France. He was beaming much of the time, as if he'd stumbled upon Eden. The 3 of us sipped wine and shared stories in Spanish, and Sebastian strummed a guitar and moaned folk tunes in French. As night fell, a few occupants gathered up and told their own stories and sang their own songs, a primordial experience of communing with fire. I had only 2 cups in the kiln. They were unglazed and rough, but I was proud of them. I'd kept them on a shelf beside my CD. Later kept them on a shelf beside my CDs and books. 3 years later, when I left Barcelona, I packed the cups in a box with other knickknacks I'd collected, photos and journals and art. And when the box followed me to Oklahoma, I found it on my doorstep, beat up and misshapen, taped together by uncaring hands. I opened the box and the cups were gone. Thanks.
You said that's part of your memoir, right? Is that
Toward the front, yeah.
okay? Is that set to publish? Is this work in progress?
Work in progress.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
great. I can't wait to see it.
Thank you.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do one more person, then we're gonna take a short break, some musical styling. So DJ Ops Factor here, and then we'll do the second round after that. All right, so let's do one more drum roll. Lorraine.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Hello. I'm Lorraine. I'm a filmmaker. Lately, I've been very disenchanted with my work. So, what I will.
Tilt the mic to your face.
Oh, okay. I'm Lorraine. It's my first time here, first time at an open mic, first time doing my own work. I am a filmmaker, I'm a writer and a director, but lately I've been disenchanted with my work, so I'm just trying to find my way back. And the short story that I'm sharing with you guys today is my attempt. This is an excerpt.
Right in the middle of it.
Yeah. Appreciate you. Kleeman was a weather-worn man with skin of cracked leather. Dressed in camouflage, a rifle slung unceremoniously over his shoulder, he exhaled the autumnal air in tiny bursts as he walked to a gray SUV with the boat hitched to the back. The bursts fell like popped fireworks to his boots, crusted in mud and stuck with brookweed, and were no more as Kleeman grunted onto the running board and climbed inside. The engine revved, pipe coughed cold exhaust, and taillights turned out the old farmhouse's drive into the blue dawn. By the time it rattled back, the sun was high in the sky. No sooner did engine cut than Kleeman's boots were crunching gravel. He went to the truck and hoisted a white bucket smattered with a bit of blood and stuck with a feather or two onto his arm. Kleeman rapped his fist against the farmhouse's window and beelined to the bayou behind us. The brackish brown water ran slow as molasses underneath the dock. Kleeman sat on the bench, affixed to the wood by 4 rusting cap screws, and began working on the ducks. From the bucket, he took a mallard onto his knee. The bird had been a young drake, viridescent feathers only just beginning to burst through the brown plumage of its youth. Kleeman plucked them clean off. With a hunting knife, he slit the exposed stomach and punched a tiny plastic tube into the incision. Using a jerry-rigged apparatus that had to be manually pumped, Kleeman siphoned the blood right out of the bird and into a row of mason jars lined up at his feet. Morning. The little girl padded up the dock in a nightgown. She had paper-thin skin, hair brittle like straw, blonde like a peeled banana. It was cold, but she didn't wear a jacket. Barely bothered wearing shoes by the look of the sandals which hung off her feet for want of being strapped. Go ahead, Kleeman told her as he sliced the bare belly of another bird. At his boots, all the mason jars but one brimmed with the bird's crimson blood. The little girl reached for one and brought it to her lips. She drank till there was nothing left, and then reached for the next. The mason jars, of which there were 5 and not long ago full, were now empty. The bloody residue slathered down the glass and pooled in a thin line at the bottom. Kleeman looked from the little girl to the mason jars and back to the little girl. The orphaned babe's face grew and the features of the child blinking back at him. You still hungry? The little girl did not respond, and Kleeman need not have asked. The aging hunter stood, and when he did, he swore he heard his bones rattling in his sack of old skin like stalks of emaciated cane and wind. Chapter. Pine needles and turned leaves covered the forest floor. The backs of gnarled roots ruptured the earthen detritus like a passing school of porpoises. Kleeman stuffed a muddy boot between them. He moved slow, practiced, even with a bit of grace. If there was a God, Kleeman found him here. His eyes narrowed to slits because something was moving up ahead. Slower now, steadier now. Kleeman stopped. It was a stag, antlers beset of 10 mighty points liable to pop the sky if it got close enough. Pow, Kleeman's shotgun rung out. Pow, the stag stumbled. Pow, and then it fell. Kleeman came to stand over the beast. It was still alive, watching him with one wet eye, grasping after life like a failed engine. Kleeman knelt. He found his hunting knife and brought it to the beast's neck. Before he drew it clean across, Kleeman recalled something he hadn't recalled in decades, a sun-soaked memory from boyhood, when his knees hadn't hurt and his hair had been full. He was sitting on the floor of his kindergarten class with a paper feather protruding from the back of his head. They were learning about Indians, Cherokee, Choctaw, Sioux, the way they read the wind, talked to trees, ate the stars, how when those red-skinned men slew a buffalo, they think it's spirit. He thought of this as he slit the stag's throat. The little girl's face was obscured by the bowl she had brought to her lips. The sounds of slathering, of sucker. Most children would be drinking the dregs of cereal, sucking milk. Most children. The little girl lowered the bowl, exposing a red upper lip and pearlescent hooks that quickly retracted into her gums. She belched a bloody belch. None of that at the table, Clemen warned her. Sorry, the little girl had giggled at first, but now wilted with penitence. She swiped her mustache with the back of her hand. You know better than that. Yes, sir. Start acting like an animal and soon enough you become one. Yes, sir. Clemen pushed away his plate. It's your turn to do dishes, he told her. The little girl collected them and began rinsing. She used a step stool he cut from salvage wood to see over the sink. Later, he'd supervise her teeth brushing, oversee her pajama selection, kneel next to her as she recited the Lord's Prayer. That Clemen was old and only getting older weighed on him. How did he, a man who didn't believe in heaven, become condemned to carry the thing? And what would happen when he no longer could? An atlas damned to dust, that's what he was, and damned to be again if that's what she needed. Chapter. The sun crested the horizon, amber clouds adrift in the scarlet sky, like some impressionist painting of a blacksmith's forge. Below it, a duck blind of reeds, willows, and sawgrass sat atop the swampland. Still, sacred, peaceful, pow. The warden drove down the shell road, eyes visored by the full-coverage sunglasses gifted to him by his wife for the first day of patrol. That was 6 years ago, and he had worn them every day since. Though you couldn't see it through their dark UV-protected frames, the warden was frowning. Clemen Gordon's SUV was at the glass well, a pond named for the gas well sitting to the side and surrounded by a chain-link fence overgrown with climbing vine. It was a regular stop for hunters. Teal in September, no more than 6, and December for coots, mergansers, and all other duck, also no more than 6, though the limit varied by species. The warden knew this, and so did Clemen, but whether it was age or ego that made the old man defy the law, the warden could not say. He should have suspended his license after the first offense, and definitely the second, but there was something about Clemen's drawn face, his clay-colored eyes, the way his shoulders sat askew his chest, that made it hard for the warden to do anything more than slap his tawny and wrinkled wrist. Clemen was not from the parish. He was thought by many to hail from a border town in Texas where there was nothing but red waste and stone gulches. Others swore him risen up from the swamp, some sorcerer who toted a familiar in the form of a little girl. She was a curious thing, seemed to be sick, though his nurse wife said she'd never come to clinic. Perhaps that was why he cut Clemen slack. Too much and he'll hang himself with it, thought the warden as he turned into the gas well. Clemen hauled his pirogue out of the water. It had been a successful hunt, 5 flocks and twice as many felled. In recent years, their migratory patterns had come to concern him. The winters weren't hard like they used to be. Up in the Midwest, food sources had stopped freezing and the once southbound birds staged there instead of coming all the way down. Today had been an exception, a hunt like he hadn't had in years. The thought warmed him against the brisk morning as Clemen hitched a paddle over his back and pulled the pirogue by a rope to harder ground. He paused when he saw the warden. Shit, Clemen mumbled and then asked the warden how it went. Not bad, he replied. Mind if I take a look at what you got? Go ahead, in the trunk there. The warden nodded and saw himself to the back of the SUV. Shit, Clemen thought again. He couldn't see the warden's eyes, but knew under those oversized glasses of his he was counting. Clemen, yeah, will you come here? Clemen went to stand next to him. All 10 of his birds were spread there, spread out so each was an unmistakable entity. How many you see there? I reckon just about 1 too many. Try 4. One of them's a teal and they ain't even in season. How many times I gotta write you up, man? This is it, Clemen promised. You said that last week, last month, last year. I got no choice. I have to suspend your license. Those words hit him harder than a fist. Clemen watched the warden confiscate his birds, grabbing them by the neck, 3 to a hand, like he were the undertaker of all fowl. At least let me keep the ducks, he pleaded. I catch you out here again and you're going to jail. Shep. The warden paused at the sound of his name, at such a personal appeal, and then kept walking. Kleeman knew then this would not be like the time before it or the time before that. His wings were clipped, sure as his birds were gone. Unless... The warden was bent over the passenger seat and reaching for the radio when Kleeman brought the paddle down on his head. Crack. The warden staggered back. The staccato crack clapped cleaner and crisper than a shotgun discharging shells ever could. Crack. The warden hit the dirt, held tilted to the sun as if he implored the Lord for divine intervention. Kleeman blotted out. Blood pooled around the warden's head, soaked the earth. His glasses were crooked, and Kleeman had the urge to straighten them. As it was, a man looked up at him, begging, pleading. Please, the warden whispered, please. Kleeman grabbed the warden's feet, leaving a red wake stretching from his bodily imprint. Mornin', Kleeman said when he saw the little girl. She stood immobilized, wide-eyed like wildlife caught in the headlight's glare. Kleeman watched the delicate sinews of her throat contract, watched the flush suffusing her face fill it forward. A northern wind, the same wind the birds rode in on, blew in a strange strand of sandy hair into her mouth. It was parted. A bead of drool yawned thin and snapped to splat the ground. She had the look of a rabid dog. Please, the warden groaned, and she fell upon him. His body spasmed and writhed. He was a well-muscled man, but soon his skin clung to bone and fell in pendulous flaps underneath. The little girl kept going, kept sucking, kept clutching the warden's side like a pernicious barnacle. When finally she rose, there was a little left. The warden had shrunk into a heap of dehydrated limbs, eyes bulging from deep recessions in his skull, skeleton fingers reaching for the pistol on the escarpment that was his hip. The little girl, wrung with a bib of blood, turned to run.
And I was not the regular type. I wore the bougie bell bottoms. And I had a fringe jacket, and I also had an army jacket for my brother-in-law. And I had lots of boyfriends, dated some gay guys. I was really in there. And I had 2 friends in college. One was named Margaret, and one was named Denise. Denise was into spirits and tarot cards and various kinds of magic, and Margaret was into boys. One night, Denise was sitting at the college fountain, meditating into her hair, and she was talking to the spirits, as she often did. And some Jesus freaks came up to her and they said, "Do you believe in Jesus?" And she said, "Fuck off." But they wouldn't go away. So she told them to go to the student center and talk to somebody else, but they wouldn't go away. And so, just to be kind of cruel, she gave them Margaret's name. And they followed up on it. Now, I told you Margaret was not into really anything but boys. And these were boys. And they followed her and they went to the student center so it would be safe and cozy. And they told her about Jesus. Well, Margaret was going around going, Jesus! And Denise and I were disgusted because I was a renowned atheist. I let everybody know. In fact, I used to go to Sunday schools for people my teenage age and disrupt them on purpose with my knowledge of the Bible, and I would have the teachers in tears because I could counter their doctrine better than they could. At any rate, Denise one time said, "Guess what? I became a Christian." What? She wouldn't tell anybody but Margaret. I mean, she didn't want us to tell anybody else. But of course, everybody knew because Denise put it on her dorm room. She didn't want anybody to know, but she took it sudden, one of them said, "You want to pray with us?" And I'm like, "Couldn't even pray." But we sat down, and I prayed, and I had a vision, and I saw an abyss. It's like the Grand Canyon, but there wasn't any bottom. And I was on one side, and God was on the other side. And the question was, do I want to go over there? So I said, I can't go over there. I don't belong over there. I can't cross the chasm. I haven't been a Christian. I'm not sure if I want to be a Christian. But then I decided I would like to go over there, but I can't do it on my own. All of a sudden I was there. Boom. And there was like the Grand Canyon, if you've ever been there. The path follows the lip of the canyon. You see cacti, the occasional ponderosa pine, various kinds of vegetation. It wasn't like this glorious place. It was just the desert, the other side, but I knew that was the God side. And I didn't know anything about what I was getting into. Despite all the disruption I had done at various churches and Sunday schools in my teenage past, I didn't know Christian doctrine very well. I just knew my Bible stories. And so my friends are getting ready to go to this Christian gathering with all these boys. And he said, "Guess what, Rosemary? Don't you believe now in the resurrection from the dead?" And I'm like, "You mean that's part of the package?" And I'm like, "No, boy, what did I get into?" Well, the time went on, and my story is going to be short now. But I became a Christian, and then I was just as vocal about that as I was being an atheist. Everybody in town knew what I was, and I got calls when I went home from college. People were calling me up, and I had no idea who these adults who they were, saying, "What happened to you?" Because I was a very prominent voice. So, and here I am now writing science fiction and enjoying myself here. Thank you. Woo!
Thank you, Rosemary. I don't know about you guys, but I would love to see where's Henry? Henry and Rosemary collaboration. That would be something. Yeah. We call it Rosemary's Baby or something. That'd be great. All right, here we go.
Hey, wait, who ordered plantains?
Plantains. Don't forget to tip the bartenders, everybody. And servers. And cooks. And janitors. All right, let's get a drum roll going, guys. There's Henry from the other side of the wall. Elise Fontaine. All right, everybody, welcome Elise.
Hi everyone, I'm Elise Fontaine. That's not my real name, but I want to keep my job. Before I start, I think you all should take out your phones because I want to give you my phone number. I don't have enough pictures of me performing, so here's my number, send me some pics, and you get a surprise. 503-490-3401. Yay, now I'll have some friends since I'm new to New Orleans. 503-490-3401. 3401. Don't abuse it, or you'll lose it. So, the first two pieces I'm going to read from are from my column series, Ghost of Orpheus. It's a dark romance that confronts a lot of things. I won't give it away. It's published in Exotic Magazine, which is a strip club magazine based in Portland, Oregon. My lover died the day I was supposed to stay with him. The day I thought we would finally be together and stop dragging ourselves back into the hell that is toxic relationship patterns. Not literal Hades, but the perpetual mental anguish we commiserated about for the last 2 years of his life. I can't make it today, I type into my phone as my heart races and sinks. I have a work meeting I can't get out of. I press send from the cold, windowless office. Orpheus sends me a message back. It's okay. I'm reachable while away. I take a deep breath because I'm relieved he's understanding. I later learned not visiting Orpheus that day was one of the biggest mistakes of my life. He was probably sitting on his bed in front of an overflowing bookshelf or surrounded by synthesizers. Orpheus was quite literary, but his main passion was for music. He was a drummer, a programmer, engineer, and multi-instrumentalist. Right now, I can sense his intoxicating smile all the way from the underworld, beaming across the aether, and his ghost looking back toward me without consequence. I'd do anything to see that smile again, to feel his skin against mine, to inhale every pheromone. Since I couldn't visit Orpheus before his first tour in years, we made plans for me to come up as soon as he returned. I was already counting the days. I reminisced about the last time I saw him when I caressed the dark pentagram of his soft chest hair for hours as we talked on his bed. And we kissed and kissed and kissed. He had the sweetest kisses I've ever known. One thing we never understood is how people don't always like to kiss. How is that even a thing? Monsters, we'd say in unison. I leave early from the jail where I work and drive to the meeting I couldn't cancel. As I'm driving, a wave of absolute despair shocks me out of autopilot. Everything in my body tells me something is wrong, and it has to do with Orpheus. I can't catch my breath. I weep harder than I've ever wept in my life. My body quakes with loud sobs I cannot stop. Tears blur my sight. I almost crash my car. So I pull over to the side of the busy road. Visions of Orpheus flash through my mind. The deepest sorrow consumes me. I can't stop the waves of remorseful agony. I don't even understand where they're coming from. An unrelenting grief over us not being together immobilizes me. I vow aloud to do whatever it takes to get across the border and be with him when he returns. I nearly drown in the tears filling my car, so I open the door and get some air to calm down. After a few minutes, I re-enter traffic and rush to the meeting, holding a cold water bottle under my swollen eyes. I send Orpheus a text, letting him know I hope he arrived okay, eager to tell him my epiphany in the car and reconfess my undying love, which we would offer to each other habitually since our beginning. Hours went by with no response, which was unusual for him. Days passed with no word from Orpheus. By the 5th day, which was a Saturday, I saw online that an artist friend of his hastily shared a rest in peace poster for him with that day's date. I knew it was the wrong date. I left a comment, he didn't die today. He died on Monday. Soon after, one of his friends asked me how I knew the date was wrong. And I explained, well, we were talking and I didn't hear back. Really, I knew because I felt him dying. Then I told him about my meltdown in the car that afternoon. Not long after, Orpheus's family publicly stated that he had died on Monday of fentanyl poisoning around the same time that I pulled over, with premonition, and unwittingly mourned his soul leaving the earth. Before I continue with my story, let me share some fentanyl facts with y'all. Because many folks out there don't realize this tasteless and odorless silent killer is ubiquitous now. Fentanyl is 800 to 100 times stronger than heroin, and 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine. Almost all drugs are cut with it: cocaine, heroin, MDMA, and meth. Even Xanax and Oxycontin are being replaced by it, unbeknownst to most buyers. From August 2019 to August 2020, approximately 88,000 people lost their lives to drug overdoses in the United States, which the Center for Disease Control and Prevention says was the highest number of overdose deaths ever recorded in a 12-month period. There is likely a correlation between these overdoses and fentanyl because so many people who are dying have it in their system, like Orpheus did. I'm gonna stop there on that excerpt and go to the next one. This is also from Ghost of Orpheus, which I'm turning into a book, so I'm so excited to be reading from it because I think doing stage performance is the best form of editing, so I appreciate your collaboration. Lust and other sins. When I think of Orpheus, I think of lust and other sins. Wildfire sunsets during the summer that choke the air with sublime beauty, smoke, and death. When we could taste the screams of faraway loss as we strolled to a nearby human-made lake to make out in a view of bright moss. When I think of Orpheus, I think of flesh on flesh, when we fused on his bed listening to Suicide's first album on vinyl. The devil's ivy filled the space with a sprawling hope I so desperately wanted inside of me. When I think of Orpheus, I think of the last time we were together. He apologized to me with tears in his eyes and ejaculated sorrow on my tongue because I demanded it. When I think of Orpheus, I think of all the times I pulled off his shirt and divinity inserted itself into our sweat. Each droplet embodied a symphonic energy of our love and desire unending, soaking the great comforter beneath us. When I think of Orpheus, I think of when he whipped homemade dressing on the counter where he smacked my ass. Swirls of apple cider vinegar, extra virgin olive oil, raw honey, and spice. This recipe is the incantation I use to conjure his ghost these days. I guess I can be a little bit of a hopeless necromantic. The real potency comes from the salt of my tears that bleed with longing to join him in Hades, to kiss him as softly as clouds while we entwine between heaven and earth, and he enters my pink gloaming. When I think of Orpheus, I think of when he used to tell me, just give me a night every now and again so I don't die. The distance equaled murder, we agreed, murder of the soul. Neither of us believed it would ever come true. When I think of Orpheus, I think of begging the accidental reaper, please don't kill the twin flames who guffaw in unison at the most inappropriate and gruesome death scenes in Akira Kurosawa's Ran at the cinema full of everyone else's gasps. We were always mutually, individually, and independently outcasts. But the Reaper doesn't care for our distilled taste and morbid sense of humor. When I think of Orpheus, I think of how much of a nightmare life can be without him. But then he visits me in dreams so sweetly, and for that I'm eternally grateful. When I think of Orpheus, I think of how he died the same day we were supposed to hang out. I think of blaming myself for something that's not my fault. When I think of Orpheus, I think of how authorities say accidental overdose, and I say fentanyl poisoning. The world says relapse, and I say reliving too much pain over and over to the point of the only choices feeling like madness or oblivion. When I think of Orpheus, I think of the shaming narratives around addiction. I think of how a label like addict is deeply problematic because it perpetuates a script of failure and a narrative of stuck in it foreverness that makes it hard to escape addiction impulses and also unconsciously makes others anticipate failure and treat folks as if they've already failed because they inevitably will because they're an addict. When I think of Orpheus, I think of how we both, at different points in our lives, crawled out of gutters and from under freeway bridges with bruised ribs and syringes dangled from bloodied limbs, sick and sullen with escapism, obsessed and addicted to flirting with death, but without ever actually expecting to die. That wasn't supposed to happen, especially since by the time we met, we were both sober and immersed in the light of poetry and music. When I think of Orpheus, I think of a percussionist's hands gently cupping my face, smothering me in kisses from the time I crossed the threshold into his home until I landed in his bed. When I think of Orpheus, I think of how I swallowed his breath and he swallowed mine, back and forth, exchanging vital forces recycled through the lungs. An innate tantra in the moment of our union. When I think of Orpheus, I think of how the stars spilled fables of a lion and goat fumbling under the bull's moon during the spring of 2017. We toggled between quintessential beast and beauty roles depending on our infidelity. Everyone involved was very emotional and sometimes a bit vain in an animalistic sort of way. I guess technically no one really cheated because we were always broken up during our rendezvous. When I think of Orpheus, I think of how somewhere along the way we figured out that when people get defensive and accuse you of being judgmental, they're really just judging themselves. When I think of Orpheus, I think of chastity until I can get my ghost shit straight. For two separate things that are like way shorter. One? Okay, got it. Thank you. So this is from a column I wrote called Stripped in Pornland that I'm weaving into a novel of stories. Diamond Girl. She barged into the dressing room and flapped about, waved her arms from wall to wall. She stopped flailing and slapped down her bikini on the worn countertop. She braced herself on the ledge, head low. Invisible lightning struck her spine. She cocked her head back and gyrated to herself with a mirror out of sync. I totally forgot I'm wearing a butt plug, she said, as she twisted her hips out of rhythm, her thin hair flung in her face and stuck to her wet forehead. You don't feel it? I asked, without skipping a beat. She spritzed herself with cotton candy body spray, then climbed onto the chair, one knee on its seat. She bent over and craned her neck to face me. Look! Diamond Girl pulled down her black hot pants and tugged her thong to the side. She laughed, helicoptered, and glared at me with a diabolical smile, this time through a tarnished mirror. See? I couldn't help but look. It glimmered at me. A clear rhinestone plugged her asshole. The diameter was about 2 inches. Can you even wear those here? I said, truly unaware of the laws and assuming it's probably illegal. Everyone at my last club wore one, she said. Her fingers let go of the thong and snapped back over her jeweled bunghole. I had been away from stripping for 10 years and I had no idea strippers wore butt plugs until right then and there. As long as it doesn't plop out on the stage and make a mess, I guess it's okay, I said. She climbed down from the chair, stomped her foot on the ground, spun her body around, and shot daggers from her eyes at me. She huffed, then threw her arms to the side and peeled out of the dressing room. I didn't expect Diamond Girl to act like she had something shoved up her ass, even though she literally did. The other stripper in the dressing room asked me for a baby wipe, and we cracked up laughing. Do you think we need to jump on this trend? I asked her. How long have you been dancing? She asked. Too long. We got this far without being extra. I couldn't argue with her logic. Besides, then you gotta deal with all the dudes who expect it. As we exited the dressing room, Diamond Girl returned and passed us as she twitched and twerked offbeat and mumbled to herself inaudibly. That's all I got. Thanks, I'm Elise.
I think plenty of people sent pictures of your reading, so you should have a nice accurate collection. Great, thank you so much. All right, let's go to the next one. Let's get a drum roll going. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. Ingrid. Yeah, Ingrid Adams, everybody.
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing? I'm Ingrid, and Ray was up earlier in the first set. We talked about us with our poetry group in Algiers, and we're starting up again. So I am the Ingrid, so y'all can put a face to the name that he was talking about. If you guys are interested, we'd love to have y'all come and join us. Okay? All right. I'm old school, so I do rhyming poetry, so y'all bear with me. Okay. Published 17 books of inspirational poetry. Got another one on the way. And on Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m., if y'all are Facebookers, I do a live Ingrid's Inspiration session. So if you get a moment, catch it. You don't have to catch it at 9, it's there, it'll be there. So just pull me up, look up Ingrid Green, it's probably on Facebook. Okay, so this first poem I'm gonna read is from the book that is being published right now, and it's entitled All in a Day. We never really stop, I don't think, and think about the hours, the time in the day we rush around our busy lives doing the things that we do. So this book is divided into morning, noon, and night. It has 8 poems for each section. So this first poem I'm going to read to you is entitled, They Call It Brunch. They call it brunch. Is it breakfast or is it lunch? That's a good question, you see, because it was once asked by me. While living this thing called life, we're confused and full of strife. Oh yes, we try to find a remedy. We try to find a remedy to end all of the confusion we see. So, what does this have to do with brunch? Pay attention, and you might just have a hunch. That's right, as to what I'm trying to tell you. Just like food, we are simply passing through. Life, just like our meals being served, there's a time and a place for everything to flow. Life gets busy, and so, I need more light here. So we miss breakfast, it's true. But it's early, thank you. But it's early for lunch. So here's what we'll do. As thoughts and actions flow through the day, let's make a meal that flows special in some way. Let's call it brunch. That's what we'll do. Breakfast and lunch together for me and you. That's right, for our lives are just like brunch. Yes, always wanting to be pleased as punch. Never focusing on what is flowing through the hearts of others. And you know it's true. Because we're too busy eating and enjoying our meal, never paying attention to what others feel. And when things don't seem to go our way, we decide to miss breakfast again today. Always feeling it's too late. to start a meal. We'll skip breakfast. That's what we'll do. And go with the flow, which is now known as brunch. Yes, it's the flow of both breakfast and lunch. Yes, brunch fulfills 2 meals of the day, since it consists of foods from both anyway. And just like the meal, I must say, so are we, just as stuck in between yes as we can be. Always thinking of ourselves so selfishly, putting on a pretense for the others to see. Yes, never realizing time waits for no one, and passing through life like another day is done. Soon there will be no time for lunch. Time will have flowed straight to lunch. So now, what do? When do we finally have lunch? As to why I say we call it brunch, let me tell you. Don't get so caught up in the flow of life. Embrace its goodness and not its strife. Time moves on from day to day, it's true. And enjoy each day, that's what you do. Enjoy whatever meal is flowing your way by helping others throughout the day. And once you're in control, you'll see the meal is called whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
Now, this is thoughts that I had from in the past, and some of you may know the song about the little ant in the rubber tree plant.
Oh, yeah.
What if we got to live like that, or actually really live like that? So I wrote a poem about it, and it's called Just Like the Ant. Why are we just like the ant, who never acknowledge the word can't? I know we think of them as pests, but we could learn from them at best. But they truly work together, you know. Ever watch the ant as they move and they go, hauling, and lifting such a heavy load to its destination or to their abode? They never stop till their work is through. Can we say the same for me and you? We get so mad and always walk away, never wanted to hear what others have to say. That's right. We tend to be selfish too, never acting as a team player. Nope, not me or you. We say things like, this can't work for me. I can't work with him or her, so let me be. That's it. We say we can't even try. Don't even want to give it another try. But like those little ants, well, my oh my, how small they are. But they tell the story. By working together, they get the glory. They march on and on for the greater good. Just think, as humans, if we just would learn to work together like we should. Oh, how wonderful this world would be. So by now, I hope you all plainly see. Yes, we can learn from the ant if we decide to respect the rights of others, get along with our sisters and our brothers. And that's why I say there is no can't. For the little insect known as the ant, they pull together, yes, using whatever. In essence, I think they're very clever. So let's start by replacing the word can't. We can make things work, just like the little old ant. And for the people who have loved and lost, I have a poem entitled With Clipped Wings. With clipped wings, I fly away, not like before on yesterday, but heartfelt going into the dark, alone without a loving spark. From you I thought would never fade, but it sure did as I sit in the shade. Alone with altered wings, it's true, wings once strongly supported by you. There was a time when I would fly high, with you by my side, oh yes, my, oh my. How we flew all day long, you know. Had many things to see and many places to go. Yes, we traveled together miles and miles, that's right, all throughout the day. and all throughout the night. Together forever, that's what I thought we'd be. But now I sit alone with clipped wings, you see. Because you have flirted all around and fallen in love on the other side of town. Unfortunately for me, I never thought that you would be away after capturing my heart too. We knew this kind of heartache was in store for me. Who knew this kind of heartache was in store for me? As we always flew together, we would be. But somehow you found the time to fly away, to become acquainted where I dared to stray. Because she had taken you from me. So here I sit with clipped wings, so lonely. Now there's no reason for me to up and fly away, as I once enjoyed with you back in the day. Those memories are gone. You've changed my mind. You've moved on to another bird. We're out of time. Yes, our time is over, but it was well spent. I'll miss your companionship on every event. Yes, I miss all of the times I shared with you. Guess what we had wasn't enough between us two. Keep you interested in awaiting our heavenly flight. I thought we'd last forever, just clean out of sight. Thought we would fly together until that last day, when Father God, yes, when he would finally say, servants, well done, come on home and fly up to me. As a couple of proud eagles, that's where we'd be. But as you chose to look the other way, and now with clipped wings is where I'll have to stay. Alone, awaiting, yes, awaiting my final fate, I've lost the courage to come out of the gate and fly again the way we used to do. It's amazing how much I believed in you. It's amazing how much control you had over me. Why was I so blind? Why did I not see that other bird waiting for you in midair, while all the signs, yes, they were truly there. I didn't want to accept them. Thought they were not real. Thought after flying together, your heart no one could steal. But I was wrong. Yes, truly wrong, you know, as I gaze out now and watch the two of you so. Fly on, my love. Just don't fly away and leave me now with clipped wings to stay. All alone, so now that's what you must do. I'll remain with clipped wings, and I'll certainly pray for you.
Thank you, Ingrid. Really appreciate it. All right, getting close to the end here, guys. So let's get one other drum roll going. Christine Kwon.
You want the lights bright?
Dim the lights.
Dim the lights?
Oh, God.
Right. Is that?
Yes.
Yeah!
Honestly, I feel crazy. What a crazy night in Algiers. It's honest. I'm gonna remember this. It's been memorable. Okay, I'm Christine Kwon. I have a book of poems coming out, my first book in March, from Southeast Missouri State University Press. It's crazy. But I'm not reading poems from that book. I'm reading brand new poems that don't even have titles yet.
Yeah.
Poems that make me honestly kind of uncomfortable. So, okay. All right. Today I received 8 letters from heaven. Some were junk, but others directives. I could tell from the way they wrote my name whether God was happy or sad. What others around me don't know is that I operate my life as such. I throw a party for God, I do the dishes for God. This is how I elicit my own best behavior. Not that I believe in burning in blue flames or in demons with 14 names, or even that there's some procedure after death. Still, I won't pretend. I live mostly with the soul. It's the soul that bathes, that dips the lobster in butter, that opens the blue envelopes with a silver blade, that answers the phone call from Lowe's and cries in the cafe reading someone else's bad poems. And I am always interested in sunning the soul, the way D.H. Lawrence had Lady Chatterley burning up on some rock and feeling herself thinking about her rock-hard farmer. Look, I don't need any Molly or cocaine or next-door neighbor. I live on a heightened plane. I read Hollybeck, go to a restaurant to breakfast by myself, try on earrings, get my nails shellacked pink, and finish the Hollybeck and order his book of poems. My soul, in ball gown of tulle and dreams, tilts down the jade dance floor, sleeps on a cold stone bench in the garden, no longer screams or complains. I no longer look for a muse. I've tamed that shrew. We sit on the balcony and cackle. I honestly don't know why I'm shaking. I usually don't shake. It's just like this night has me feeling crazy. Okay. Okay. Is it you, sparrow, singing in my book, laboring in the schoolhouse, Catulluses drinking white Russians, my rose first in my nose, then yours, the fleetest of ships have come bearing first 100 conquests, then 1,000, then 100, then another 1,000. Wan white ladies, slightly confused men on hands and knees in the meadow's edge, where I flew by, where it was dropped as I passed by. Show me a Catullus, just one not empty skull. In this land full of Damien Hirst and Jeff Koons, I write for the dead, the ear that has become a leaf, for the ear that has not yet been born. Trying to get the wiggles out, okay. My Catullus hungry, he order lunch. He keep that nose big, I feel it when he munch. My Catullus still in college, in my old red British soldier coat, still in that luxury state of mind, still in that how I felt writing my first paper on Milton, like my brain was smashing millions, still in that how I felt trying not to fuck someone at 22, a Catullus here and a Catullus there, hat and coat in a train, in the hall, in the club, in the taxi, in the rain. My Catullus is a 10 in the face, a 10 in the body, says, you wanna come in? I can bring all my Catullus to the yard, I can erect the dead. My Catullus so hard.
So hard.
My Catullus so hard, no word is stone enough. My Catullus is bigger than yours, because you don't have one. Part of my Catullus is touching France, the other hand, your underpants. You can read it, but I'll have to charge. You can ship it, but though it's extra large. Import taxes, heavy-duty tape, I need a shipyard. My Catullus sing till his face round and blue. I put down baby Catullus and put the moon to sleep real quick. All of us Catulluses climb into bed till the earth grow flowers from our head. Our head is good. How's yours? Is it on tight? Is it blown? The cat's meow? Is it slicing bread? Is it hot as hell? Or is it already dead? Tell me, how's your head? Is it growing inch by inch? Mine's still drinking milk, lapping at a dish. I can't sit no more in my head. Gonna find myself one more wife, someone to pick up, someone to clean up. But tell me, is one wheel still spinning? Is that your real face? Or are you just a clown? And is one Catullus all you own? Last poem, it's a fun one. Ever since I watched my first Doja Cat video, Mental Illness, I started with, get into it, yeah. Say so, kiss me more, woman, need to know, streets. Then I had to stop because I thought I might die. Months ago, maybe a year ago, I watched the video for Juicy and was unimpressed. But I felt she referenced TLC, Aliyah, duh. I mean, everyone. Jesus Christ, Mary, aliens, me sitting watching MTV in the morning before school. Her body perfect, her soul perfect. I began thinking about art. I remembered how when Doja first came out, people were trying to cancel her for things she said on Tiny Chat. God, people hate artists, especially other artists. But not me. I love Doja Cat.
That's incredible. You were an incredible poet. That was amazing. All right, we have 2 people left. It's me and Julie. Where are you, Julie? There you are. The Royal Rumble. Last one. Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Last 2. Come on, guys. Let's pick it up. Let's get the drum mic on. This is the last drum roll of the night. Julie, it's you. I don't mean to close it out. I'm in the hack, just like everybody else. But Julie, you're up. Let's get it.
Hey y'all, my name is Julie Haberstick. Hi. And I moved here just before the pandemic hit, and just a little bit of backstory, I guess. So I published a book, and it is because the way I got to New Orleans was in 2019, I got into a less than healthy relationship with my career, with my fiance, and so I threw my life into my car and I just started driving. And that's how I found this place. I'm very grateful to be here. So this is my book, it's called Coyote Gratitude, and it's got poems and pictures and personal essays, and so I'm just gonna read 3 poems. The first one is very old, and I'm kind of excited about it. So is the audio good? Should I step back a little bit? Okay. Can you hear me if I'm back here? So I'm about to probably get a little louder. Or is it better up here?
It's better there.
Alright, I'll be here. I'll be here. La-di-da-di-da. It's called That Kind of Girl. It's really something else with you. God, I've never drank so much on a first date. Babbling about future plans and gender roles and childhood films is really, well, it's really something else with you. That's all I can say. I never expected your skin to be so warm. But it's date 3, you say, and you ask me if I'm that kind of girl. Listen, I wasn't counting our dates on my fingers, but you seem like the kind of guy, but I'd like to be honest with you, because you seem like the kind of guy who could handle it. You want to know what kind of girl I am? I'm the kind of girl you take home to mama. And I'm the kind of girl you want to take home. I know how to fold a napkin properly, and I can knit a Christmas-worthy scarf. When I do it right, my hair looks like an 80s porn star, and when asked politely, I can recite Kipling and Kerouac. It's true. I look good in a dress, and I like putting my oral fixation to work. I am independent, I am funny, I am interesting, I don't hang around, and my baggage consists mostly of the wallet I can use to pay for my own meal. Unless you're feeling like a gentleman tonight. I love life, and I like you. You seem smart, savvy even, like you've got your shit together, like you know what the next step is. It's so cool. You remind me of my uncle. It's all right. My uncle was sexy when he was your age. When you talk about the different paths life has already taken you, I feel starry-eyed and young. It makes me want to hold your hand. It makes me want to kiss you. You're always making me laugh. You're always making me blush. You're always trying to take my panties off, which is great, I guess. I guess you're straight.
You seem to love to buy my drinks, which is great, I guess, because I can only afford 2 glasses of Pinot Noir, and you don't really want to meet my friends, which is alright. I guess they're a little young, and you'd rather watch Conan than take a walk with me or do anything, really, before the sun goes down. That's about the time I get a text from you, but when you ask how I am, you don't listen for the answer. So after several weeks of grab-ass, I'm getting this feeling that you don't really like me as a whole. You like me as a whole. It's alright. That's the way things go these days. It's alright. Naked bodies are just naked bodies. It's alright. You're a man. But I've met you before. I've seen this movie already, and I know who wins. I believe in chemistry. I believe in Peter Pan. I believe in honesty. And I believe in all of what I am. And if you're unsure, confused, if you like your eggs and if you like your everything over easy, that's okay. I have lots of friends. And this is more of a story poem, I guess, called Heart-Shaped Box. From the head of the aisle, she sees her soon-to-be. He grins, a boy poised to open a present. Through the veil, she feels hot stares of people who love her. She leans on her mother's borrowed blue shoes, but father nudges at her arm. This is what you wanted. Down the aisle, she smiles pearls and mirrors with a diamond on her finger and a rock in her stomach. I will be a better man for you, her intended vows. But neither can see. She is the reward for his chivalry. He wants to be a better man for himself and no one else. And her husband consummates the marriage. She clenches and fits, and she sings herself a lullaby. This is what you wanted. He brings home capers and wine and newspapers. Her reflection is so beautiful when they stand together, and she insists she likes to breathe their home's thick air. They think they are happy in their home of dirty windows. After all, love takes work, she reminds herself. Can't I do the work of love? The rock in her stomach sprouts roots, thrives without oxygen, and the children cry silent because emptiness leaves no marks. And the lullaby becomes a headache. This is what you wanted. He needs her to be beautiful. This is what you wanted. He scares her and she shuts her eyes. This is what you wanted. When he smiles, she feels protected. This is what you wanted. The stone grows into her lungs, a stalk up her throat. He forces her fists to loosen. This is what you wanted. This is what you wanted. This is... The stalk blooms in her mouth and chokes her bloom. Nothingness nearly releases her from hopeless questions, draws her close. Knuckles white, she reaches inside herself and pulls. The roots of the weed scrape up her throat, tear her eyes. The stone tastes cold at her tongue, and she throws it through a dirty window. The September sun cuts in. The brisk air hurts. You ruined my home from the inside, she wheezes at the stone, weeps. Hollow, she shares this with the man she thinks she loves. He demands her diamond ring and the heart-shaped box it came in. On her knees, she renders unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. Sunlight streaking his face, she meets a man she doesn't know. Part of him, anyway, for they did love each other as best they could. In a gray morning, she steps soft into the sun. Surrounded by broken glass, her heartstone sits warm. You've made quite a mess, she grieves, moving into the sunrise alone. The stone fits in her pocket. It sings. All right, the last one. This is called tampon string. My underwire is kinked. My unzipped boots are rusted. There is shit on the tip of my tampon string, and I am all out of fucks to give. There is a moment in every shitty date where you cease to be a person
and become an impediment to something someone else thinks they deserve. You have to finish it, a married man told me in his car. You have to finish what you started. It had started as a conversation in a coffee shop, or behind the bar in a seafood restaurant, or on the dance floor. Tender eyes and a genuine interest in your interests. But a bottle of champagne deep, he asks, "What's your drama?" And when I told him, he encouraged me to fuck everything that moved, asked me why I wasn't fucking everything that moved. It makes me crave my single kiss on New Year's Eve from a girl who said simply, "You're so beautiful." She said, "You are your own perfect." I asked the married man why he proposed to his wife in the first place. "She's better than what's out there, I guess." I told him to be careful. To live in misery and call it love is laziness. I choose the work of winding up happy.
That was great, Drew. Thank you so much. All right, so just me. It's only fair. Thank you guys for sticking with us this long. We still supposed to be till 7, but it's only fair. I've been calling you guys up all night, so I guess I should go now. Let's see. So, not to get all weird or anything, but I would definitely like to dedicate this first one to a friend of mine who passed away last week. You guys don't know her or anything like that, but I'm sure everyone in this room has lost somebody at some point that was just, it doesn't make sense. You know, like a really good person doesn't fucking make sense when you lose people like that. And I know you guys don't know her, will never know her, but the world is just a little tiny bit dimmer since she's gone. So this is funny because this piece is not at all serious, but she was an editor of this magazine and she accepted this and started like a really close personal relationship. So now it's going to be kind of goofy, which is not going to make sense. But this piece is called Coprolite Number 2, Human Paleofeces from the Quaternary period of the Cenozoic era. Enshrined in a temperature-controlled museum case with a holographic placard featuring inaccurate descriptions such as coprolite specimen from a middle-aged millennial male, I'm in my mid-30s, and excavated from a site where automobiles, cell phones, and other rudimentary implements were also found, indicating that it was a heavily populated region. I got locked outside my office, nobody was around, it was an emergency. As well as technically accurate but rude statements, likely an office worker, a generally low status position that allowed for little time outside, which likely accounts for his vitamin D deficiency, and for unknown reasons this individual consumed food and drink that directly contributed to his gastrointestinal distress, such as black coffee and leftover cheesy fiesta potatoes, reheated in a microwave, suggesting that he probably lived alone and was otherwise unlovable. Located between the exhibit of two skeletons locked in eternal embrace, carved from the ashes of Pompeii, their fear frozen in time, originally thought to be a woman and child, but later revealed to be two men. And Ötzi the Iceman, with his 61 indecipherable tattoos and the birch fungus he used to combat the whipworms festering in his colon, is all that's left of me. This moment, devoid of all context and yearning, where I brace, breathe, and pray for it all to end. This next one is the most recent thing that I've written, and it's called The End of the World, Taylor's Version. Adrian's mother was obsessed with the past. She named her daughter after some yogi philosopher from 100 years ago and always took time to check beneath and behind every empty shelf, flip through every ruined magazine. Plugging her charger into a dust-covered device she found in a drawer, Adrian still hears her. You never know. The screen lit up and a song started playing loudly. Adrian ripped out the cord and ran to the doorway. Outside, the wind blew cold. Tufts of ash fluttered across the empty street. No sounds of engines. And when they never came, she crept back down the basement stairs and turned the device back on, lowering the volume as the first notes started playing. She knew the words were Taylor Swift's, but she'd never heard them like this. Losing him was blue like I'd never known. Missing him was dark gray, all alone. Her mother would hum and sing them to her at night, stroke Adrian's hair and croon, "My mama used to sing this to me when I was your age." In the basement room was a bed, and 9 scorching summers and frozen winters, and she'd never been in one. Adrian flopped down and set the device on her chest, studied the images of clean boys and girls and men without beards plastered on the dingy pink walls. She listened over and over, restarting to better hear and feel some of the words again. Loving him was red. When the charger died and Taylor Swift was gone, she missed her mother in the still room. Adrian hadn't spoken since she had to hide while the engines took her away. She coughed when she tried to sing, cleared her throat, and tried again. Losing her was blue, losing her was blue, losing her was blue. Okay, so this is the last one. Taylor Swift, yeah. Got your finger on the pulse.
We have a section about Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Both of my daughters are big fans, and you know what a Taylor Swift fan is called?
Swiftie.
Right.
Yeah.
But just to mess with them, I call them Swippers.
I'm sure they love that.
Say, oh yeah, you're a Swipper.
Yeah. That's great.
That's my introduction.
There's Dad, everybody. So my last one is going to be kind of short, but I think it'll work. It's really one of those poems where it's like on the page, it makes sense. So when I say dot, 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 you guys have iPhones, you know how like when you were texting and the dots float here? Okay, so when I say dot, 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 what I'm getting at is the bubble with the dots, okay? I think that's all of the explanation. It should work. Okay, so this piece is called dot, dot, dot. We send over a banger meme like it's nothing. SpongeBob dried out with makeup and something about depression. It's a sure bet. The little bubble with the dot, dot, dot flashes and disappears. Ha. Holy shit. A ha guy. We've got a ha guy here, guys. We've only been with LOL guys. Well, I mean, there was that one ha guy in high school, the writer who didn't write. He said something about hating LOL, and we nodded and said, for show. And he said, what? And we said, and we made a face, and we stuck to mostly texting. Ha guy sends back a decent meme. It's older, but it tracks. Sad enough, funny enough. He's funny enough, not brilliant. He's a ha guy. We can cut him some slack. Plus, he's picking up on every little packet of information we're sending. He's definitely into us. Better not fuck this up. Maybe in a few months we'll find out he's an illy guy, L-I-I-O-Y, an illy guy, too. He'll get it from us. We'll send it first, watch the little bubble with the dots flash and fade, and we'll wonder what the hell were we thinking, and if we'd ever known what it would be like to love again, and then a quick pop, and then illy too. We'll go shorthand with it, casual, cool, just in love. No big deal. One of our kids will have this cute way of saying it, Lafu, back to us, and we'll start our own language, Lafu too. For years we'll go on like this, until we stop speaking in ways that only we can understand, and we think the end will look like screaming and crying and throwing clothes over balconies, but it's mostly just weekend schedules and who gets a dog, which will obviously be him. They go on runs for God's sake, and it's quiet, and it looks like ... illy ... Thanks, guys. That's it. That was great. That's awesome. Thank you, everybody. You want to close this out?
Thank you to everyone for coming, and this is the reason why I rent a brick and mortar.